evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Show. On the panel so far, we have Mr. Jason Stewart. How are you tonight?
Oh, doing good, Rich. Thanks for the invite. Good to hang out with you. Hey, everybody.
As everybody saw at the start of the program, lost a legend in the wrestling. I'll spit this out eventually. We lost a legend in the wrestling industry this week with the passing of superstar Billy Graham. He was 79 years old.
A
Uh,
legend indeed.
yeah, one of the biggest heels in the 70s, turned babyface in the 80s. Huge influence on wrestlers, including the likes of Hulk Hogan. If you look at Hogan, he pretty much took what Billy Graham was doing and ran with it.
I was thinking when he had his picture up there, that was a good picture, too, of him. Uh, if you just look at the picture, it's like Hulk Hogan, Jesse the Body,
Uh huh.
the Macho Man, all wrapped up into one, and he's the OG. He's the originator of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Savage uh, modeled his promo style after Billy Graham. If you listen to some of the stuff Billy Graham was saying back in the 70s, it's hilarious. Some of the stuff it was like listening to the prototype for Randy Savage's promos.
Oh yeah, everyone we just mentioned: Hogan, Jesse the Body, Macho Man, others. If they weren't influenced or copying superstar Billy Graham, their careers would have been nothing. Their character wouldn't have been as good. And man, he was, like I said, the '70s was his heyday, really.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I mean, he was the mold, the model for most of the wrestling we have today, right there. Style wise, muscles and physique wise, the microphone. You know what I mean? He was the originator, man.
Yeah. Uh, when he was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, he was inducted by Triple H. Triple H, in his speech, called him the original sports entertainer. Like you said, he was the model that wrestling in the 80s was built upon. And he was also the first professional wrestler to be the big and muscle bound guy like Hogan would go on to be, and Savage to
Yeah,
a lesser extent, and Ultimate Warrior, and all that style of wrestler.
yeah, no doubt. He was the in shape physique man, and the rest of the world was, I don't know, like pot bellied rednecks. You know what I mean? And or the giant, and gorilla and stuff. Those were just massive people. They weren't, like Gold's Gym type people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Uh, I watched, I think it was Cultaholic did a during their news video where they were talking about him. And they had a picture or a video, I should say, clip of him with Arnold Schwarzenegger when Schwarzenegger was still a bodybuilder doing the Mr. Universe contests, and Billy Graham was a wrestler. Billy Graham was bigger than Schwarzenegger. Dude was just a massive guy. It, like you were saying, unlike the other massive guys at that time frame, he was built. He was buff. He was stacked. However you want to refer to it.
Yeah, and that kind of helped. He had the personality and the swagger. You know what I mean? Because he was a big old boy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And the clip I was talking about with him and Schwarzenegger, they were in a gym, so they were in their workout gear, and you could just see how much more mass Billy Graham had on him than Schwarzenegger did. And again, this was in the height of Schwarzenegger being a bodybuilder in the bodybuilding competitions. This has been in the 70s before Schwarzenegger got into acting. So when you look at that picture, the size of his bicep, I mean, good Lord Almighty. You talk about Hulk Hogan with his 24-inch biceps. Billy Graham wasn't much off from that.
Yeah, even back in the day, I always thought superstar Billy Graham was bigger than Hogan in the Python area. Uh, they keep talking about Hogan's like we know it's a 24-inch Python, brother. You know what I mean? There's bigger guys in the world than that. You know what I mean? But I always thought superstar Billy Graham was a bigger, stronger guy than Hogan. Uh, Hogan is what he is, but whoever. But like Hogan wasn't a bad guy. He didn't have that mean streak in him. Like, you know what I mean? In the '80s.
Yeah. Um, and then if you look at as Graham's career progressed, he seamlessly transitioned from the big bad heel that would, and even when he was a heel, he was popular.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like, what a winning combination. Like I said, he had that swagger in the ring and behind the microphone, and the name Superstar Billy Graham. I mean, that's a hit. That's a seller right there, man. I mean, you
Yeah,
couldn't come up with anything better. I
a
mean, he
man of
wouldn't
the
have been nothing as the Lightning Billy Graham or the Flash or something, man. But the super, especially in the '70s, and the funk and psychedelic and Superfly and all this and that, man. The superstar, man, that just fits great.
yeah, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. I mean, its catchphrase was crazy for that time period too. I mean, you didn't hear guys talking like that, you know. And what I was getting at, he went from being the heel in the '70s. You get into the early '80s, he was still doing the heel persona. Get into Mid Atlantic in the mid '80s, he seamlessly transferred from that heel to being a baby face because he was getting cheered anyway when he was a heel. You look at the crowds and stuff when he would come out in the '70s when he's the heel getting ready to take on Bruno San Martino for the WWF or the WWF World Heavyweight Title. Billy Graham got as many cheers as San Martino did. It was crazy how over he was as the heel. He was the first heel to be popular with the fans. All the other heels, people were throwing stuff at him and stuff. Billy Graham was getting cheered as the heel. That was unheard of back then.
Yes, yes. Rest in peace, Billy Graham. Why did he die? Just old?
Yeah, I didn't see what cause of death was. He's 79 years old. I mean, at that point, it doesn't take much, But
Well, in following news, also rest in peace. Yesterday we had the passing of Jim Brown.
yeah, another legend in a different area, but the legend nonetheless.
Yeah, who doesn't love Jim Brown? You know what I mean? It's Jim Brown.
Well, he had his moments where, you know,
Yeah, we know that. But hell, dude, that nobody agrees with that war nowadays, anyways, right?
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the assault allegations and everything against him.
There's not a shred of evidence on that.
He
Jesus
did
Christ.
time.
You act like he had a private plane to Epstein's Island or something.
I didn't say that.
Man gave his whole life to football, man. I respect him. I love him. Rest in peace, Jim Brown.
Yeah, yeah, you can respect what he did on the field for sure.
Well, he spent most of his remaining years here, helping young players, different
Hmm.
foundations, and just hired for different things just to share his wisdom and his knowledge with other young players. You know what I mean? He's made his commitment to national football, or his not his commitment, but his mark. You know what I mean? He's made his mark on and off the field.
Yeah, according to ESPN, going back to Billy Graham real quick, they said that he had been battling health issues for years. He had undergone a liver transplant back in 2002, and at the time of his death, he was on life support and was dealing with organ failure from diabetes and other issues.
Oh well, damn! Liver transplant in 20 plus years. That sounds pretty good. Hope they were good years. Not if he suffered for 18 of it.
Yeah, but that's what I found from ESPN. What they were set, their listing cause of death is organ failure, essentially. So,
Bernie's out there. He said, "Don't shrink the glove when you wash it."
where was I? I'm trying to find where I'm at. There we go. You get lost in these things really easy. You're trying to find something. It's like, okay, where did I put this? Oh, there it is. Yeah, if this glove don't fit, you must have quit. Yeah. Way back when Mil Mascaras was huge compared to the majority of wrestlers. Yeah, Mil Mascaras was a good, one of the really good first luchadors to really make inroads into the United States. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame too, if I remember correctly. I think he's still alive. I don't think he passed. So, anyway, neither here nor there. But yeah, I do want to say rest in peace to Billy Graham and to Jim Brown, two legends gone. Man. Every time that happens, do you feel older? Or is it just me?
Yeah, Jim Brown was like almost 90, so
Yeah,
he. But I was surprised that Billy Graham was not near 90 himself. But you say 79. That's
yeah,
younger than the president, I believe.
yeah, it is. I brought it up last night during Gary's show. Biden was born closer to Lincoln's presidency than to his own. He was born 77 years after Lincoln's presidency and 79 years before his own.
Damn, that's a hell of a way to look at that. He ain't no Abe Lincoln, I'll tell you that.
No.
Whatever he learned in the first 77, he forgot in the last 79.
Oh, it's sorry. Yawning. Been a long day. I ain't really done anything that's been a long day. Our Siamese decided he was going to take off out the door earlier. My wife's leaving for work at like four
He's
o'clock this morning, and he goes bolting out the door in front of her.
he's not a cat that goes out.
No,
He is now.
don't know what got into him. He just boom, took off out the door.
Is it a boy cat?
Yeah,
Has he got claws?
yes, he does.
He'd be all right. He'll come home when he's hungry.
No, he's back. He came back a couple hours ago. Finally. Worst part is it's been raining off and on all day. So
I wouldn't even worry about that, man. Just
well, he doesn't like water, so I don't know
you know,
where the hell he was hiding.
if you got a female cat, you'd want to have her fixed before you letting her out all the time. You know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kingpin.
Yeah, I'm still working, so I'll be in and out. If I start breaking up, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, real quick. We were just talking about the passing of Billy Graham. You got any Billy Graham things that you remember from him?
I specifically remember one time seeing Billy Graham get leg surgery, and when they cut through his rubbery tan skin, it made me think that he wasn't a human being. And I was a little kid when I saw that. Other than that, Billy Graham was great. I thought he was fun. I am a little bit pissed off that Vince McMahon bent over backwards to talk about Billy Graham and still hadn't said anything about the Bushwhacker guy.
Hmm. I don't think we did either. Damn, I tell you, honest to God, sorry. Which one was it? Was it Butch?
I didn't know anything about it. One of the bushwhackers passed away, huh?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. He was an old dude too. He was actually older than Billy Graham. He was in his 80s. There was a wrestling event booked in Baltimore, or it might have been Baltimore area, somewhere in Maryland anyway, through a Maryland Professional Wrestling, where the other Bushwhacker was going to be appearing at it. I think it was this weekend.
I think I remember what Kingpin was talking about Billy Graham having hip surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I remember that too, and then I think I remember him seeing him a couple times. He had like aluminum crutches or something.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second.
I'll give you something to talk about. How bad did SmackDown suck this week?
Yeah, I just watched that like an hour before we went on air.
I only got to watch wrestling for 5 minutes this week, and I think I was watching AEW. I don't know what I was watching, but they brought out I can't think of his name at the minute. Guerrero, Eddie, not Eddie Guerrero, but what's the kid's name? He just fought his father all last 2 months.
Oh, Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic Mysterio, yeah, that's who it was. They brought him out, and he beat this new guy in like 2 seconds, like one move, and dropped him and pinned him. And like the crowd loved it. He was like a hero. They were cheering him the whole way. So,
I didn't see that one. The promo was it on Monday where the because I watched Raw. I didn't get a chance to watch Raw until today. I think that it was Raw where you had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the ring cutting a promo, and the uh, Judgment Day comes out, and they all saying their piece and everything, and then Dominic gets ready to say something. The crowd starts booing him every time he goes to talk, and Kevin's like, "Oh, I can't hear him anyway. I'm just gonna. Can I just punch him in the face to Sammy?" And Sammy's like, "Yeah." At this point, go. And they just start fighting. It was funny.
Yeah, but I seen he beat this like newcomer dude in like one move and pinned him. But then he got on the mic and he all talked it up. He's gonna beat everybody and climb his way to the championship.
It was crazy when the promo I was talking about when Rhea Ripley got her chance. The crowd went crazy, cheering for her. And then when Dominic got on the mic right after, they started booing the shit out of him. The crowds do not like Dominic Mysterio. Freaking hilarious. Every time he goes to say something, it's just like, boo! Super loud. And KO wasn't far off. You could barely hear him with the microphone in his hand during one point during that on Raw this week. That crowd was really letting him have it. Of course, I think they were in Greensboro, North Carolina on Monday's show. So that was interesting.
All right, here's two more subjects that I can listen to you guys talk about. Mustafa Ali is going to be the next Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, he's going to get torn to pieces.
And man, I was so pissed off that they put LA Knight in a tag match with Boogs. That match, that was that match actually made me angry.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't know what they're thinking putting Mustafa Ali as the winner of that battle royal. It should have been Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed versus Gunther. Sign me up for that every day. Mustafa Ali, not so much. I'm wondering if they just had him win because of the pay per view being in Saudi and him being Muslim and everything. I mean, if they really wanted to do that, they could have had Mansoor win because he's from Saudi Arabia, but he's even more of a jobber than Mustafa Ali at this point.
Well, it's ultimately whatever the prince decides now.
I'm just surprised that Sammy's going over with him being Syrian descent and the the diplomatic issues that had been going on with Saudi and Syria is why he hadn't been going over and doing any of the Saudi shows. He's going over to do this one. Which, Saudi Arabia just let Syria reopen their embassy and stuff in there, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it could. What's funny is if you listen to some of the wrestling things on YouTube who don't know anything about the situation, they were saying, "Oh, it's a religious issue." How could it be a religious issue when both Saudi Arabia and Syria are predominantly the same sect of Islam? That wouldn't be a religious issue. It's purely a political issue.
If they all had more church, though, they wouldn't be fighting.
I'm not sure if Sami Zayn's even a Muslim, to be honest with you. So that would have anything to do with it either. I just don't see Mustafa Ali being able to get hardly any offense in against Gunther. Normally, with it being in Saudi, with him being a Muslim and all that, they may let him. But there's no way in hell he's going to win. His chest is going to look like a falafel filling by the time they get done with that match.
W. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did you watch AEW?
yeah. The ending of that show.
Did you see Chris Jericho's chest about 5 seconds into his match?
Oh yeah.
Him and that dude were killing each other.
Uh huh. Oh yeah, Roddy Strong. He can chop the hell out of somebody too. Oh, I know what I'm talking about. Going back to Raw again. Did you happen to see when McDonough was leaving and the reporter walked up to him and asked him the questions? Who was standing up in the rafter or on the like half wall or whatever it was behind her?
Yeah.
You caught that? Finn just being sneaky, just sitting up there watching.
Yeah, see, I noticed that they've been doing a lot of background stuff, and then one of the commentary channels that talks about wrestling was like, be on the lookout for background stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's one of the rumors that's going around is that they're going to put McDonough in the Judgment Day, and then what happened on Monday? You have Finn basically like look like scouting the guy, kind of. You know what I mean? So
Well, you predicted that uh, the night after the draft or whatever. You said that that's what he was going to do.
did I?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you. It might have been. Yeah, it had to be you because the only other alternative would have been Buck or Jason.
I don't remember, to be honest. There's been so much stuff that's been happening in the past few weeks. I honestly don't remember.
I just went to try to catch up. You was talking about Chris Jericho getting beat up, and I just saw he got beat up in like the cafeteria, got like
Yeah, it
a
was a
pie in his
false count. It
face,
was a false count anywhere match.
and they took him outside in the courtyard, and they beat him up in the flower bed, and
Mm-hmm.
a dude pinned him and beat him out in the mulch.
Yeah, I liked how they played that one too, because the thing with that match is Jericho's guys were banned from being in the building, and Adam Cole was banned from being in the building. So what does Roddy do? He tricks Jericho into going outside the building where Adam Cole could get involved.
I'll be back in just a second.
All right. You'd think Jericho would have been smarter than that, but I guess not. Oh, excuse me. So I guess I don't know if Kingpin's listening still. He's at work, like he was saying, so I don't know if you can comment or not. But the Elite is back to full strength. Hangman rejoining the group on Wednesday night. Anarchy in the Arena next weekend. The Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. That is going to be interesting. I think that's what I'm most excited to see during that pay per view. I think, the rest of the stuff. MJF defending against three guys I don't think should be world champion. Yeah, don't really care about that match. Honest to God. The more they try and promote that match, the less I seem to care about it. But you able to comment, Kingpin?
Yeah, what's up?
You think we just saw Sammy, as in Sammy Guevara, turn babyface on Wednesday, or is it a setup?
Well, the thing, if you watch that behind the scenes TV show, he was supposed to be a babyface kind of anyway. And it seemed like everybody liked your girlfriend and everybody liked him. But then when they started coming out as a team, they got booed.
Oh,
Because they
there's a
were like, wait
reason.
a minute, every time we come out as a. Well, because they
There's
stick a tongue down each other's throat and he's grabbing
no,
all over
that's
her
not the
titties and
reason.
shit.
That's not the reason. Before the two of them got together on camera, Sammy
Mm-hmm.
was engaged to another woman.
Oh,
And
so they didn't do that on the
so
behind the
there's
scenes show.
the rumor that went around the internet wrestling community was that Sammy and her were cheating behind the other one's back, even though the other woman came out and said that that's not what happened. Their relationship just broke apart. And then after that, and it was months before Sammy and Ty got together, but you know how the internet rumor mill is.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why Sammy and her got booed mercilessly, was because basically they're blaming her for breaking up his engagement, which and him for betraying his fiance, which isn't what happened.
Oh, I see. They didn't say nothing about that during the show. They just were just like, hey, it's weird. Last week we came out by ourselves and everybody loved us. This week they hate us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so sticking with AEW, obviously we had the four pillars match wrestle, except for MJF didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
Did MJF wrestle?
No.
Okay, so Darby had kind of a gimme match because he had Orange Cassidy, as a teammate. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tag team, and that protects Orange a little bit too because he's dealing with a little bit of injury, so that gave him an easier night as well.
Now, Jungle Boy got Roosh.
Yeah.
And he got his ass whipped all over the place. Sammy Guevara had a 10-second match with a nobody.
Yeah.
Like, what did Jungle Boy do to piss off Tony Khan? Because he had to go.
I was wondering the same damn thing. Jungle Boy had Roosh is no pushover. The dude is a former world champion, for God's sake.
Yeah,
He's a multi-time Ring of Honor world champion.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching. I was like, okay, well, once Darby's match, I didn't think nothing about it. I was like, oh, just Darby's tagging because the beef thing. And then Sammy Guevara came out, and I was like, oh, okay, all the guys are going to wrestle tonight. Maybe even MJF will wrestle. And Sammy's match was over in 30 seconds. I was like, all right, so that's how it's going to be. And they were like, coming up next, it's Jungle Boy versus Roosh. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, what the hell?
That's funny.
Yeah, that was like the same thing. When he said, I mean, they're listing all these guys, the matches, even before that. I mean, they always list what the big matches are going to be. And they're like, Jungle Boy takes on Roosh. Like, what?
That was unexpected for sure. Oh, and I did hear you while I was working. I heard you talking about the Elite is complete now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's cool. That's right. Daniel Bryan is part of the Elite, so they are complete now. Because John Moxley said the other night that they are the Elite.
Well, yeah, but then Hangman came back and said, "No, we are the Elite, and we are taking you. Basically, we're taking you guys on in arena, Anarchy in the Arena, which is going to be like I don't know if you remember the stadium, the one where they were wrestling in the stadium and it was all crazy stuff. It's basically going to be that. But
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that because all those guys wrestling while you're trying to sit in your seat and they're right on top of you is going to be interesting.
yeah, if you thought the Falls Count Anywhere match this week between Roddy and Jericho was bad, this is going to be an 8-man Falls Count Anywhere tag team match.
Yeah, that's going to be unbelievable. It's just not going to make any sense to that at all.
So you think this is gonna be the blow off to the feud, or is it gonna continue after this?
What's that?
You think it'll be the blow off to the feud, or is it gonna continue after this? I'm thinking it's gonna continue, and then like maybe at All Out or maybe at All In, they'll do blood and guts with them.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
think I think they're going to try to get something big for the Wembley Stadium match with those guys. But I'm not Triple H. I like I don't like the real long drawn out feuds like obviously the Bloodline and everything.
but there could be a monkey wrench because they're talking about potentially at All Out, either All In or maybe or if it happens before, because you got the Forbidden Door, Osprey when he's healthy getting a rematch against Kenny Omega for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
So that Osprey being from the UK, the All In show would be the perfect place to have that. So would they hold off until All Out if they're going? Are they even going to be doing All Out this year with them doing the All in London? Because AEW only does 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year to begin with.
Yeah.
Or will they? I don't know if they're going to extend this all the way out to Full Gear in like November.
Yeah, that's who knows, man. They they got to do something with the that they got to put it in a cage match or something because just
Oh
even
yeah,
even
that's why I said Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts is their version of War Games. So you do Anarchy in the Arena, and I don't know, Takeshita comes back, sides with Blackpool Combat Club, and Kenny makes a phone call and brings Ibushi in to offset Takeshita, and then you do Blood and Guts 5-on-5. Kota Ibushi, who is former World Heavyweight Champion over in New Japan, and Kenny Omega are really good friends. At one point over in New Japan, the Elite were aligned with him, and they called themselves the Golden Elite. So that could be a way they go with this, especially with Callis being the one that brought Takeshita into the Elite thing anyway. Having Takeshita come back and then turn on the Elite after Stadium Stampede, or not, I want to say Stadium Stampede, because that's what it originally was. That's why. Anarchy in the Arena match, the Elite say the Elite win or BCC win, and one of them are in the ring all congratulating themselves, and the other one comes out to confront them, and eventually it starts breaking down into a fight. Somebody gets injured. Say Matt Jackson hurts his arm again. It's storyline, so that gives the Blackpool Combat Club the advantage. Takeshita comes running out, acting like he's coming out to help the Elite, and all of a sudden he turns on them and starts beating on them with the Blackpool Combat Club. The next week, the Elite are all licking their wounds, and what are we going to do? in a backstage promo kind of thing. And Kenny's like, oh, I got an idea. And you see Kenny get up and leave. And then the next week, we get them running back, and we get it almost the same kind of thing where the BCC is in the ring running their mouths. Only this time they got Takeshita in the ring with them, talking about how he's joined with them and yada yada. And out comes the Elite to confront them. And then right before they get in the ring, Omega's got the mic in his hand. He's like, maybe they might have said something like about the Blackpool Combat Club outnumbering them now because it's now 5-on-4. And before they get in the ring, Kenny's like, "Oh wait, you're right. I got the solution to that." And then Kota Ibushi comes walking out, and the crowd's gonna explode at that point. But it's just me fantasy booking that anyway.
I think that they might need to do something extreme with Takesha because being a good guy probably isn't going to be his thing. Like he's nice, you know what I mean? To be a baby face, he also can't speak English enough. So I think if they make him bad, then that could probably get it over.
Yeah. And making him join Blackpool Combat Club with Don Callis, they could have Callis act as his mouthpiece. Because, like you said, he doesn't speak English very well. He does speak some English. He doesn't speak a lot. So that it would definitely help him to have somebody like a Don Callis that could speak for him. You know what I mean? And as far as Ibushi, he doesn't speak a lot of English anyway. I mean, either. But Omega in that situation is fluent in Japanese. So Kenny can Ibushi can go on and ramble, and Kenny could translate whatever the hell he's saying. So that wouldn't be that big of a deal there. So anyway, that's where I would like to see it going, and then that all in do blood and guts, that 5-on-5, and that could be an amazing match. Those 5 guys going against each other, and then that could definitely be the blow off to that feud. Maybe AEW does do some long-term storytelling. I mean, look at the whole Elite story. That's been running since AEW was founded, or actually before, because the storyline with the Elite and everything that's been going on with just them and Hangman and all that's been going on since they were over in Japan. And at that point, Cody was a member of the group too. For some reason, when they started All Elite, Cody went off on his own with no real reason ever given as to why he wasn't in the Elite anymore.
See, my boy's Pretty Deadly kick some butt too, right?
Mm-hmm. I thought you didn't like Pretty Deadly. Or do you like them better now that you were watching NXT more?
Hair guy, I think it's got some real potential. And I think I think they can stay with the pretty boy look. They just got to toughen up a little bit. Like they're a little too sassy for SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're going to evolve that the characters on them a little as they go, because their characters were good for NXT, especially the era of NXT that they were in it, where you had the rainbow puke everywhere. That's when they started making their names in NXT, was during that. But they were over in NXT UK too, I believe, before that. Which NXT UK was more hardcore kind of professional wrestling kind of stuff. It wasn't the NXT like with that they were in. So be interesting to see. But I definitely think they need to refine their characters a little bit more. but I think they got the talent and the ability to do so. And they got to quit wearing those damn half shirt sleeve thingies that they wear in the ring. It just looks so stupid.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They can be pretty boys, but the homosexual pretty boys just don't work. Like they need to come out like some Freebirds or some, some Gorgeous George or something like that. Like, yeah, we're hot and we're gonna take women from you. Plus, we'll kick your butt.
Yeah, well, if you listen to what they were saying on commentary on SmackDown, it's not even that they're playing them up that they're homosexual, because they even said about how the dark haired dude, whose name I can't remember, said about he'll take your girlfriend and what are you going to do about it? It's just
Yeah,
they're
they
you
still
got.
came in wearing
Sorry,
bras.
you're breaking up a little.
They still came in wearing bras.
Yeah, they're still wearing that silly thing, but that's because they're playing up the European style pretty boy. They need to convert them from being so much the European style pretty boy to more of the American style badass pretty boy that's going to whoop your ass, like what you were saying. They still got that European supermodel pretty boy thing going, if that makes sense. I mean, HBK wore that shit until he got in the ring, then he took it off for the match. If you want to have that as part of your entrance attire, fine. HBK did it. But don't wear it during the match. Good Lord. Take that shit off. What do you think about that four-way for the women's tag team titles with Liv Morgan being out?
What? No, Liv Morgan? What's happened?
She injured her shoulder. She's going to be out for a while, the way they were talking last night on SmackDown.
I'm sorry, I should take a little easy on the little girl.
Yeah, she got injured in that match that we did. We watch that? Or was that on that was on pay-per-view, wasn't it? The tag team match with where they where what the hell are their names? Damage Control challenged them for that was on the pay-per-view we watched a couple weeks ago, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Thought it was. Or was that on Raw or SmackDown? No, that was on SmackDown a couple weeks ago.
I think it might have been on the pay-per-view because the last live TV show was when the Spanish girl wrestled with Outlive, and then Ronda Rousey attacked her.
Yeah, that was this week. What's it on? I'm trying to remember. We're having to keep up with 3 shows. You're only doing a once a week thing. Maybe it was. I don't remember. Anyway, she got it. It was Dakota, the match where they defended against Dakota Kai and Bailey. And Kai hit her in the corner with the running kick, knee strike thing, and apparently she injured her shoulder when that happened. So, because that's the clip they kept showing on from last night's SmackDown, where the injury happened is when Kai hit her when she was laying down in the corner up against the turnbuckle kind of thing. And from the looks of it, it's a shoulder injury. And right after, she was grabbing her shoulder and she was barely moving her arm for like the rest of that match. Even when she went and got the pin, right afterwards, she grabbed her shoulder real quick. So I think she probably dislocated and maybe tore her labrum or something in her shoulder, the way that was looking. which means she'll miss a couple of months probably. Well, here's to a speedy recovery for her injury. Trying to figure out who Raquel is going to have as her tag team partner for that four-way match in 2 weeks. It's I'm trying to remember what the four teams are. It was Raquel and a mystery partner, Rousey and Baszler, Chelsea Green, and what the hell's her damn name? I'm drawing a complete blank on her name.
Seville.
Deville, Sonya Deville. You almost had it. You were close. And who was the fourth team? Was it Bailey and Io? Yeah, I think that's who the fourth team is. Bailey and Io.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think they're probably going to put the belts on Baszler and Rousey.
Yeah. You know who needs who does need a partner? Trish Stratus is looking for a partner right now.
The man's coming for her. I ain't seen Becky look that pissed off in character in a long time.
One of the NXT matches, I think it might have been the Roxanne Perez match. Or either that or it was the Cora Jade. I think it might have been it was either that JC Jade girl doing it to Roxanne Perez or Cora Jade did it to whoever she was wrestling. But it looked like she was kicking out receipts because they were bumping up to each other real hard, and then either JC Jade or Cora slammed the girl, and then when she was on the ground, she just punched her twice in the face.
Yeah, I did not get a chance to watch NXT this week, so I don't know what happened there. So Sheamus going after Austin Theory. Who you got in that one?
Say again?
You broke up. What? Say again.
What did you say?
Uh, Sheamus and Theory. Who you got in that?
Oh man, Theory's already beat a bunch of real heavy hitters, and he's won a bunch of special matches. He's beat a legend. I say Sheamus is going to beat him.
I was gonna say Theory just because of what you said. He's been on a roll.
I'm still disappointed that they didn't put the Intercontinental title on Sheamus. Give him the Grand Slam thing. He's not got many years left. I mean, he's an older guy as far as a wrestler is concerned. He's in his 40s. Yeah, if there's a guy in the promotion right now that legitimately could be somebody who could beat Gunther without hurting Gunther, it would have been Sheamus or McIntyre even. Yeah, they had Gunther beat both those guys. So, which is another reason why Mustafa Ali is just going to be turned to dog meat. He's
I
going
like
like,
that Gunther, man. He's a big, mean, nasty son of a bitch.
uh-huh.
I try this one for size. Austin Theory loses to Sheamus, which gives him the opportunity to start a beef with what I think might end up being AJ Styles because apparently Seth Rollins has got a movie he's getting ready to start.
I don't know, because if you look at the Waller effect, I think they're getting after the tournament final next week in Saudi. It looks like they may be starting a program with AJ and Waller.
I would have liked to seen Shawn Michaels come out of retirement to wrestle Waller.
Just once, I would like to have seen Shawn Michaels super kick him with sweet chin music. The night he gets called up, call him out to the, he got drafted. Call him out to the podium and just sweet chin music him before he walked off.
And
The
tell
parting
him
gift.
that when he's laying on when he's laying
Broke
on the
up.
ground, reeling and writhing, tell Hunter I said hi.
Uh-huh. That would have been a hell of a parting shot, right? That Shawn Michaels' last interaction with him, as far as NXT is concerned, just sweet chin music his ass. Man, did we talk about last week? I don't remember where Barry Corbin getting beaten like 10 seconds.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we were supposed to delete that from our memories.
To the moon. Corbin deserved it, talking shit and everything. Got his comeuppance, got beaten 10 seconds.
I'm gonna have to jump off. It's making too much noise now. But just know it's about to be Tiffany time. Don't forget, you heard it here first.
Uh-huh.
All right, but still on when I get off. I'll hop on. But
See that?
Yeah, I don't even know what
get
the
out.
fuck. Forget how to get out of StreamYard?
What the hell? I can't. Well, that button's not working.
We are
The exit
programmed to
button's not working?
receive.
I can kick you out of the stream if you need. You need me to kick you out? No response. You're having all kinds of issues. Oh, there he goes. Okay. I didn't have to kick him out. He left on his own. Mid there, I thought I might have had to.
Huh.
Yeah, he's on his phone. Phones and StreamYard can play havoc. They don't always like to play well together. trying to think of what else to talk about. I take it you haven't seen the interview segments that Corey Graves was doing with Seth Rollins.
No, but I did
Yeah,
hear Seth's going to be in a movie.
yeah, yeah. That's what AJ said. I know that Seth is hanging around a movie set or something while AJ's been training to get back in the ring after his injury. No, the interview segments that they did on Raw with AJ, no, not AJ, Corey Graves interviewing Seth Rollins and asking him about different things, starting from the NXT when Rollins was NXT and became the first NXT champion, up through the Shield when he betrayed the Shield, and then up to now. And they cut it and said to be continued next week when Corey Graves asks him about Roman Reigns' title reign. But it was well done the way they did it. The interview segments was pretty interesting, I thought anyway. So you get a chance find somewhere, see if you can find where they have those posted and watch those interview segments. It was interesting.
All right.
It actually seemed like they were, those interview shows like 60 Minutes and stuff. It was like that kind of interview kind of setting. It wasn't your typical wrestling backstage interview kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd find them and play them on here, but every time we do that, we get a get a copyright claim. Not that I'm monetized, so they're not going to get anything for it anyway. But still, we don't want to hurt our Pakistani fans.
No, no. Don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, can't have the Pakistanis not able to watch the show. This is funny. Twice now that we've shown a clip from something with WWE, we've gotten copyright claim, but only like in Pakistan and Russia or some other Muslim countries and stuff. Not in the U.S., just everywhere that we don't care if people watch the show anyway. I mean, I doubt there's anybody watching over in Pakistan to begin with. Still, I don't think we probably don't have anybody watching in Russia or Bangladesh or any of those other places like that over there in Asia and whatnot.
You just need to promote your channel more.
I don't speak
Let's
those
go.
languages.
Let's go international.
I don't speak those languages. It'd be kind of hard to do that.
Oh well, that's their problem. They probably got some method or something to translate for them.
Christ, I barely speak any Spanish or German, let alone Farsi. That I think it's what they speak over in Pakistan. A combination of Farsi and Hindi. And then no Russian at all either. I don't know what they speak in Bangladesh. Don't know if they speak in Indonesia either.
What would they speak in Bangladesh?
I guess probably Hindi, a variation on Hindi dialect, something along those lines. That's in that region, or whatever they speak in Nepal, maybe. Again, it's that area of the world. I actually know some geography, guys. Believe it. I can't pick out exactly on the map where Bangladesh is, but I can pick out the area, the region that it's in. I know what region it's in. Got Nepal, Bangladesh, Tibet, India, northern India in particular. That's all in that same area. Pakistan's over towards that way because Pakistan borders on India. Afghanistan borders on Pakistan. So I think you got Sri Lanka and some other countries over in that area too. So, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but yeah. Yeah. This is getting as bad as last Sunday. You weren't there. I don't think. Me and Gary started giving a history seminar towards the last hour of the Sunday show last week. Talking about somehow we got talking about World War II and different things about World War II and whatnot. I have no idea how we got on that subject, but yeah, we did, and we just ran with it for like an hour. And amazingly, didn't really lose any viewers. So whatever we were talking about must have been interesting. I keep getting that damn red box that pops up saying your connection's unstable and mutes you. Anyway, how much did you hear what I was saying?
I heard it all.
You heard it all?
Yeah, it all came through.
Okay. Yeah, about what I was saying about I wish Kingpin would have been able to be on more because I know he watches the shows more than you get a chance to, that kind of thing.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I heard you talking. We were talking about what language they speak in Bangladesh
Oh,
and their geography lesson.
yeah. Oh, so you didn't hear the part about the World War II lesson or anything?
Mm.
Last weekend, me and Gary on the Sunday show.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were talking
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Here he's back.
Yeah, everybody else bailed out on me, so I'm here by myself.
Okay. You didn't miss anything wrestling wise. We were just talking about, I don't know, geography lesson.
Yeah. What language they speak in Bangladesh?
What language do they speak in Bangladesh?
Yeah, we were talking. Somehow we got talking about that shit. I don't even know how. Just one of those random things.
I think they speak Hindi in Bangladesh.
That's what I was thinking too. Oh, I know how we got onto that. I was telling Jason he needs to see if he could find the clips of the Corey Graves sit-down interview with Seth Rollins from Monday. Yeah, there we got talking. I told him I would play those, but then we get a copyright claim to where they couldn't watch it in like Pakistan and Bangladesh and stuff. And then I was like, no, not really worried about that really anyway, because I doubt I have any viewers over there because I don't speak those languages. And then we were wondering, what the hell language do they speak in Bangladesh? That's what it was. That's how we got onto that topic. Now I remember. It's amazing how you'll forget shit from like 10 minutes ago. Just start talking about random shit. You forget how you start talking about the random shit. It's like, the guy I don't know if Kingpin was there either, but on the Sunday show, like I was telling Jason, me and Gary, we just randomly start. Cause I think Gary was the only person that was on the show last Sunday. We just randomly start talking about World War II shit, and like giving everybody a history lesson on I think it was the financial aspects of World War that led into World War II or some shit like that. Yeah, yeah, it was great. It's kind of crazy. We talked about it for like an hour. It was like after show kind of shit. We just start talking about random stuff. Yeah. So what did you think about the sit down interview with Corey Graves and Seth Rollins or Kingpin?
I actually thought it wasn't that bad. I did enjoy it. Uh, I like the scene. I'd like to probably watch the whole thing straight through as opposed to the clip.
Right.
But it seemed pretty good. I like Corey Graves. I like the bad guy announcer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like the British dude all that much on SmackDown. But Corey Graves is pretty decent.
Yeah, and then when Corey Graves does the sit down interviews with people, because he's done it before, he comes across more of a journalist than he does a heel play by play guy on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, telling Fox News and CNN to pay attention because that's how reporting's supposed to get done.
Mm-hmm. I like how they ended it too with the cliffhanger on the where Corey asked him about Roman Reigns' championship reign.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to finish playing that, what, Monday?
Yeah. And Seth was like, I knew you were going to ask me about that. I knew it.
The problem, once again, going back to the cheating matches, you know, Roman Reigns has beat everyone in the history of the wrestling. But
Except
haven't
Seth Rollins. The only person he hasn't beat is Seth Rollins. The one match that they had during this title reign between the two of them, Reigns got disqualified.
I didn't know.
And the whole story is that Reigns has been ducking Seth the whole time. If you pay attention to the innuendo and stuff that Seth has been laying down, Reigns, especially going into the tournament, Reigns has been ducking. The storyline is that Roman Reigns has been ducking Seth Rollins. Which is why that question came up as the cliffhanger question at the end of the interview segment this week. It is probably why they're going to have Seth win, even though I think I'd rather see AJ win for I don't even know why really. I just like AJ Styles a little bit more than I like Seth Rollins, I guess. But yeah,
I could take an AJ Styles championship because he's a good wrestler, he's a good character. I just think that I think Seth Rollins has been putting in too much work. Like, I think for them to overlook with AJ Styles just coming back off of injury, and Seth has been putting in it a long time, really heavy and super fan. I think it'd be a mistake to not give Seth the title.
Yeah. What I'm thinking they're going to do is put the title on Seth, and then we get the Survivor Series, and you have a Roman versus Seth match. Champion versus champion, not the unite the belts. The old way they used to do it, and before the belts were united and everything, where Survivor Series was show versus show, brand or brand versus brand, whichever you want to say, Raw versus SmackDown. And the main event would be champion versus champion just to see who was better for brand pride, essentially, is what it was. So, and then maybe have Seth beat Roman, just not for the championships. That's what I'm thinking they might go with that, and then have Cody win the Royal Rumble again, and then challenge Reigns again at WrestleMania, and then maybe beat him there next year to complete that story. Cody's supposed to have a lot more creative control over what he's doing than what some of the other guys do. And I think that's the story that he wants to tell because his dad never went getting to hold the championship and whatnot. He specifically stated it's the WWE title that he wants because that's the belt Dusty was denied. And right now, that's part of the championship that Roman has. Which again brings us back to why the fuck they have 3 world championships in WWE for 2 shows. Why not just take the WWE title off of Roman and put that back on Raw where it was supposed to be in the first place?
I think the 2 brands title is stupid. They should have one heavyweight champion that bounces back and forth between both shows and kicks everybody's butt.
Yeah, that's what the reports are that AEW is going to do.
So that way, if you want SmackDown to hold the title, then I'll just making up names. Bobby Lashley could win the. Oh, damn!
You all right?
Hit myself right in the face with a wire.
Oh,
Bobby Lashley could win the title, and it'd be like, "Oh, I'm the SmackDown champion. How about that, you jabronis?" Then somebody else could win the title and be like, "No, I'm the Raw champion. You jerk off." And they could still rep their brand, but not have the SmackDown champion, Raw champion.
yeah. Well, I think we talked about that a little bit last week. It could, where it's like the territory days. Each show has their main championship, which for right now with Raw will be the Intercontinental Championship. SmackDown would be the United States Championship, and the World Champion goes back and forth between the two of them. Hell, for that matter, they could send them down to NXT. Have Roman Reigns show up on NXT taking on Braun Breaker. Because at one point, NXT was supposed to have been a third brand, but then they decided to change their mind on that one for whatever reason. I should say Vince changed his mind on that for whatever reason. That was about the time Hunter went out with his heart issues. When that happened, that's when they went from being the NXT Black and Gold brand to being the Rainbow Puke brand. Question, Kingpin. Is it just me, or does Boogs look like he could be a Steiner too?
Oh yeah, he might as well just be Rick Steiner Jr.
Yeah. Call up Braun Breaker and make them two the new Steiners. They could say he's like their cousin or something in storyline, because they've done that before with wrestlers where they in story made them cousins even though they weren't related. He's Rick and Scott's sister's kid or something, which is why he has a different last name. Still boggles the mind that they don't let Braun Breaker use the Steiner name. They just put the Steiner brothers in the Hall of Fame, for God's sake, last year. And yet he's not using the Steiner name. He was on the Indies. He was going by Rex Steiner. That was his name on the independent circuit when he was wrestling briefly on the independents before WWE signed him. What do you think about Boogs using both members of the Street Profits as a weight set?
I think there's guys in the WWE that could probably bench press 2 men with each hand. I mean, some of like I don't think there's that you could put a human being in a ring and try to figure out how strong Boogs is. Like you'd have to put him up against a bull or a bear or something like that just to figure out just how strong that guy really is.
Yeah, I mean, he was gorilla pressing repeatedly freaking Montez Ford, and then sat him down on his feet in the corner.
10 times. 10 times he overhead that guy 10 times.
Yeah, and then he grabs Dawkins goes to do a splash on him or something, and he catches him and he starts curling the guy like he's a barbell. I don't know. I didn't count how many times he curled him, but Jesus Christ, dude is just strong as hell. Dawkins is not a little guy.
Montez Ford is easily 235 pounds. Easily.
Yeah. Well, Dawkins got to be what, 250, 255, maybe 260? He's not little. Boogs went out there at the beginning of that tag match, and he was just throwing both members of the Street Profits around all over the place. They got something there. I just don't think they know what to do with him.
I think they know what to do with them. Same thing they're doing with LA Knight. Give long-term contracts so that way when they suck with their characters and don't give them any good time on TV, they can't just go to Tony Khan and get a real job.
Maybe. Except LA Knight, they've already done that with once. Now think about it, because he was in NXT years ago and they cut him and he went over to Impact and made a name for himself over there. He's a former, if I remember right, he's former Impact World Heavyweight Champion. And then WWE signed him again to NXT and didn't really do much with him in NXT, and then caught him up to the main roster. The guy is extremely talented. They just aren't using him. Now, the rumors are that they're planning some kind of push for him, but I don't know what at this point, the way they keep screwing around with everything. Who knows? Maybe eventually they'll have him do a program with Theory, where him and Theory team up or something, and he stabs Theory in the back, turns Theory babyface, and the two of them feud over the U.S. title after that. Who knows? Or if Theory drops the belt to Sheamus, the two of them form a tag team and go after whoever the tag champs are, which that needs broken up too. You got it, or just, or not, because they don't have two tag titles. Okay, forget the fantasy booking I was just going to do. The tag titles, should each show have their own tag team champions, or just keep them like the and float the tag titles back and forth like they do, like we were saying with the world title? I should say not like they do, like they should with the world title, especially since there's not a whole lot of tag teams in the tag team division. Anybody?
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of help.
May not be helpful, but I'm honest.
Titles don't make no sense.
What was that, King?
Keep them separate. What's the point?
Can't hear what you're saying.
Unless they're going to keep the titles separate, then they should only have one set of titles for the whole spiel. Can't cut that one. I'm
You think they
gonna.
should? You think they should just do one tag team titles, period, or
Well, yeah, because like you said, there's not enough men to keep anything else going. They don't have enough teams, legitimate teams, to have all these belts running.
yeah, so that's what I was thinking. They probably do like we were saying with the world title, just have the tag team champions float. Because again, if you look at the old territory days, you had the NWA World Tag Team Champions, and then each show had their Junior Tag Team Championship, which is where the National Tag Team Championship and the United States Tag Team Championship came from. The National Tag Team Championship actually was the junior title for the old Georgia Championship Wrestling. And then the U.S. Tag Team Championship was the junior championship for Mid Atlantic. And then when Mid Atlantic and Georgia Championship Wrestling merged under Crockett Promotions, you had both those championships on the same show, which then they merged those two together and or changed the name or something. Anyway, they combined it to where you didn't have the National Tag Team Championship anymore. And you had the National Heavyweight Champion, which was the Georgia Championship Wrestling, and the U.S. Champion was the Mid Atlantic, and they combined those two together in a tournament that was won by Nikita Koloff. And the national championship was merged into the U.S. championship. So, and there's not enough tag teams like to have each show have their own separate tag team championship and then have the world tag team championship above it. So just make the world title tag titles a one belt and float back and forth between the two brands, just like they should be doing with the world title. I think part of the reason why they're not doing it with the world title is the fact that Roman has it right now, and he's on a limited schedule because he's just doing the part-time thing. Ditch both the Universal Championship belt and the WWE Championship belt and just use that new belt as the World Heavyweight Champion and have that champion float. Just tell Roman we're retiring the belts. You can keep them.
They might as well let him keep him. They ain't going nowhere for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't even have a challenger set up right now for him. Christ, they're trying. They got Roman and Solo Sikoa challenging for the damn tag titles next weekend. Yeah, speaking of next weekend, there are 3 pay-per-views next Saturday. 3.
Well, that would be cool.
Well, you got the Saudi show, which is going to be at 1 o'clock. And then like 7 o'clock, you have both AEW's pay per view starting and NXT's competing with each other, essentially.
What are the shows again?
At 1 o'clock, it'll be the Saudi show. Then at 7, you have both AEW's and NXT's.
They're on the same night.
Yeah.
Sorry, NXT.
Three different shows
I
next
gotta.
Saturday.
I gotta. I'll have to get you to hook up with me so I can wire you the money or however we do that.
Yeah. You don't have PayPal, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you do have
Yeah.
PayPal?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
use my
You'll have
email.
to. We're gonna have to go through it together because the only time I've used PayPal twice, and it's cost me money for something both times. And I forced him to be on the phone and help me through it, so I might have to call you.
Okay. Yeah, it's not hard. PayPal's real easy. That's
Yeah,
how
that's
Jason and Buck do it. When they send me the money to pay for the AEW pay per views, that's what we've done. We've just used PayPal for them to send it to me, and then I can use PayPal to pay for it.
yeah. I was gonna just send you some cash, but it's too late for that.
Yeah. And the way the postal service has been, I wouldn't trust it to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not your mail, man.
No.
Had FedEx.
Speaking of, to update you on that issue with Chris, I have now gotten both packages finally. It
Wow.
took a month for the one to get here. The first one he shipped, it took a month. Took
Damn,
2 weeks for the second one.
did they ride up on a horse when they delivered it?
Yeah, Pony Express from Columbus. Hell, the Pony Express would have got here quicker. Columbus ain't that far. It's absolutely ridiculous how long that took. I told him I think probably got stuck in Baltimore. Their post office is horrid. Our postmaster hates it that they switched us to them as our hub, our main hub. When the hub was in Pittsburgh, we didn't have any of these troubles. For whatever reason, the post office switched which hub our mail goes through. And we talked about that before. It's absolute craziness.
Daniel, start yawning, Rich.
And I am beat. I think I've had 2 hours sleep, if that.
I'm
George
worn
is
out.
out there.
I'm worn out from doing nothing.
Mm.
I'm pretty much out of work. Got told yesterday.
Oh, that
Like,
sucks.
ain't got no work maybe till about fall.
Oh, damn.
Not real work. Went from 7 days a week to maybe gonna get 1 day a week each week for the next 3-4 weeks.
Shit. That
And then after
sucks.
that, don't know nothing.
Move
They
to
just
Maryland.
they just
Keep you
stopped.
busy.
They just stopped all construction here. Just like flipped a light switch, instant halt. Nothing. No workers, no machines digging, no lots being plotted, no nothing. Just sales have dropped to nothing, to zero. From 400 a year to nothing. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Hmm. I told you that was coming.
Yeah. What was it? It was that last interest rate jump.
Hmm.
And it was showing like it pretty much added, it took a $1,500 house payment and turned it into a $2,500 a
Oh,
month
look,
house payment.
so another thing. Look at that damn rule that they just put into effect, where if you make so much or you pay so much on your mortgage, you got to pay an extra tax. Where if you no your credit score, it's based on credit score. If your credit score is a certain number, you got to pay so much in a mortgage tax. And if your credit score is below a certain number, you get a mortgage credit. They're penalizing people for having good credit.
Yeah, things went downhill when Obama was in there too for houses. He'll come back.
That's only part true. What you said there, Rich. They're going to punish people who have good credit because they want people with bad credit to buy a house that they can't afford so they can have another housing bubble.
Uh-huh.
Just the first one. They did the first one on purpose, too.
Oh yeah. What was it? Dodd Frank.
Bad loans too.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah,
talking about. That
yeah,
was Dodd Frank. They forced the banks to give people bad loans, and then bitched at the chewed out the banks for giving the people the bad loans that they forced them to give them. Anyway, that's a Sunday night topic.
no
Yeah,
politics in
you come to
Hell's
Maryland.
Kitchen or wrestling.
You go ahead and come to Maryland, Jason. I'll keep you busy.
Jason can always come to West Virginia and help us with the roof. I mean, it's not going to be much; just got to reseal it. You got an extension ladder, Jason?
Nope, I have to rent one.
Yeah, there's a place not far from here that rents them. It was like $90 for 3 days to rent one. I think that's what it was. I think that's with delivery. It's $90 for 3 days with the delivery, if I remember correctly. Which isn't too bad. I told Amy we should just rent a cherry picker. I know how to use it. Easier to get up there with the sealant than trying to haul that shit up a ladder.
Yeah, no doubt.
I just don't know how much they would want for to rent a cherry picker for a day. They have big ones, little ones, medium sized ones. Wouldn't need too big of one. Just one, two people. You have two people in a bucket. Take it right in the backyard. The gate in the backyard opens wide enough where you can drive a car. We drove a damn U-Haul through it. So you get an idea how wide the gate opens. You easily get a cherry picker through there, a small one, and use it to get up on the roof. But probably talking a couple $100 to rent one of those for a day, if not more.
You need to just go find a roofer and see if he wants to seal it doing it on a side job. He'd have everything you need, probably.
Yeah, probably. Problem is, we don't get the money to pay a roofer to do it.
Yeah, not the company. You need the worker. Side
Yeah, I
job.
know. Everybody around here, it's all independent contractors that do that stuff.
Next time you're in a house, Jason, that's getting built, when the electrician is, you know how you drill through 2x4s to run wire through them?
Yeah.
When you see electrician pumping caulk in the holes that he's just drilled and run his wire through, kick him right in his balls.
That's right after I kill the son of a bitch who's got a can of that fucking spray foam in his hand. Oh, I've been dealing with that. Oh my god, they had the houses have been getting shitty, but just last week and this week I had a couple where the drywall was real loose at the bottom, and somehow the motherfucker sprayed that spray foam up in there, and it just curved and bubbled the drywall. I had to just take a hammer and bust off the lower inch or two of the drywall, and then take the claw hammer and scrape all that foam crap out. And it don't even stick. It don't even seal nothing. It's the world's worst invention of all time, man.
It's like a cheap Band-Aid. Cheap Band-Aid, you get a cut, you try to put a cheap Band-Aid on it, and it doesn't even stick to to your arm to keep you from bleeding everywhere anyway. That's why you never buy generic Band-Aids, folks. They don't stick for shit, and you end up with blood all over everything anyhow.
Tape and a napkin. There's your best Band-Aid. Heavy duty.
Get some of those non-stick gauze patches, and some medical tape works better than any goddamn Band-Aid will. Be careful with using the napkin method. While it'll work, depending on how bad the cut is, the fibers from the napkins can get in there and cause an infection.
You worry too much, Rich.
I've seen it happen. My cousin did that, and he ended up having to be taken to the ER and have his arm lanced because it got infected real bad.
You know, my aunt chopped half her ear, chopped her whole earlobe off using a double-sided hatchet, chopping firewood when we was camping. And it came back, and she chopped her fucking whole earlobe off. It was dangling. They grabbed her ear, put that back up in place, spit a big old wad of chewing tobacco on it, and wrapped a bandage all the way around her head. And her ear grew right back, didn't even have a scar.
Yeah, you can do that with like body parts like your ear and stuff because it's just skin and flesh and stuff. There's really not like any muscle in there or anything. It'll just like grow right back together. Just like if you've got a cut on your arm, you just piece it together and bandage it and it'll seal itself. Same basic principle because there's no bone or muscle or sinew or tendon, ligament, any of that kind of stuff in there that needs to regrow. It's just basically a blob of skin and some fat cells. That's all your earlobe is. That's why when you get your ear pierced, it doesn't hurt nowhere near as much as what people say it does when you get other body parts pierced. There's really nothing there. Makes you wonder why your ear's shaped the way it is if it doesn't really do anything, doesn't it?
It's for handles, Rich.
So that's where so what you're saying, that's where true love handles are.
Yeah, you could say that.
else happened this week in wrestling? God damn. There wasn't a whole lot more, was there? We covered just about everything. If there was any significance, I think. I'm trying to remember what the stipulation was that was set for the Christian versus Wardlow match. And I can't remember what it was.
It was the ladder match.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah, because Wardlow was like, "I'm going to take him on in a match he does best," or something along those lines. Yeah, he wants to attack me with a ladder. Yeah. But yeah, what do you think about that? Wardlow versus Christian in a ladder match. Christian is an expert at ladder matches.
Well, every time I think one of the wrestlers is going to die in the ring, they don't, because that little Spanish girl's not dead. Bad Bunny. So,
Yeah. But if anybody's going to die, it's going to be in an AEW ring. And Wardlow versus Old Man Christian in a ladder match. I'm not saying Wardlow's a dangerous worker or anything, but yeah. And Christian's had issues, just like Edge, where he had to retire and everything. And some of the stuff that Edge does, I like cringe every time he does it. I'm waiting for him to paralyze himself. Well, the same goes for Daniel Bryan too, for that matter. I mean, I don't know how smart the idea it is for Christian to be doing a ladder match at this point in his career with the injuries he's had. Everybody made a big deal about Edge having to retire. He's not the only one. Christian was forced to retire too. And his was related more to the same reason why Daniel Bryan had to briefly retire. Or Bryan Danielson. Well, he was Daniel Bryan at the time. That was his WWE name. But yeah, Christian has had issues with concussions and stuff, just like Bryan Danielson has. I'm really not sure how smart idea a ladder match is.
You got to live on the edge.
Yeah, they seem to do that a lot in AEW, though.
I think they set it up to where the monster cheats. I can't think of what his name is now. Oh, the big monster will cheat, and then Wardlow will be like, "Fine, I had to beat your boy. Now I'm going to have to beat you."
Yeah, I think ultimately they may be setting it up to where it'll end up being Luchasaurus versus Wardlow. Whether it's going to be for the belt or not, if Luchasaurus helps Wardlow or lose the belt, helps Christian win it, I should say. Then they do a feud with a minor feud with Wardlow versus Luchasaurus while Christian goes off and defends the belt against somebody else. And then Wardlow, after he beats Luchasaurus, challenges Christian, or Christian turns on Luchasaurus and then Luchasaurus challenges Christian for the title. One of the two. I think is where they're going with it. Now, in June, when Collision premieres, they're going to have to put the TNT title on that show, right? I mean, it's going to be on the TNT network. They got to move that championship over there. You would think, right? I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to put the international championship over there.
Yeah, they got to do something creative. They can't just do the same. They definitely can't go WWE style.
Well, it's already been stipulated, I believe, that the world champion is going to go back and forth between the two brands. Or the two shows, I should say, because they're not calling it brands like they do in WWE. They're just calling it two different shows. Speaking of, did you see the announcement from Time Warner or Warner Discovery about Collision?
No.
Okay, remember the rumor where they were doing that to keep CM Punk away from the Elite and vice versa? Time Warner released a statement this week that CM Punk is not contracted to appear on Collision.
Why is there always something going on around this CM Punk?
Because he's a dick.
Why don't they just get rid of this guy? Never hear from him again.
Well, they did for how many years, and then Tony Khan decided he would sign them. You know, everywhere this guy has gone, he's been a problem. At some point, he burns every bridge he crosses behind him. It's like he's not worth the trouble.
No, no.
Anyway, I believe it was after Discovery Warner made their announcement and published their statement or whatever it was. CM Punk comes out and says, "Yeah, it's because they wouldn't hire Ace Austin back or Ace Steel back." And it's like, well, duh, he bit a guy. Apparently, according to CM Punk, he was going to come back and do the show, but then when they decided they weren't going to bring his friend with him, so CM Punk thinks that wherever he works, his friends have to work there too.
Sounds just like Clint Eastwood.
CM Punk is no Clint Eastwood. I wouldn't hire CM Punk in the first place. And if he's trying to dictate to me that if that as a condition of his being rehired or being brought back to the show, we got to bring his buddy back. It's like, hit the road, Jack. Or Phil in this case. That's his real name, Phil. Phil Brooks is CM Punk's real name for those out there who may not know.
He's kind of got that Hunter Biden look, too.
Well, no, he doesn't do crack or anything. He's straight edge. Everything else, yeah, he's a leftist asshole. But he doesn't do the crack. Everything else Hunter's done, I cannot confirm. I don't know if CM Punk leaves laptops everywhere for every government agency in any part of the world he's ever been to find.
That's because he probably had a laptop and his dumbass broke it.
Good, here I go yawning again. It's one of those nights. Anyway, we've been going for right about 2 hours. So I think we could call it for a night. Oh no, we okay. Before we go, June 17th, Collision starts. It's going to be Saturday at the same time we're doing this show. That's going to present a problem. Do we keep this show on Saturday nights at 8 or move it to another night of the week so that we don't have to wait a week to talk about what happened on Collision? What do you guys think?
I don't care, but
What
explain
did
to
you
me.
say?
Collision, is that the next pay per view?
No, Collision is going to be the new AEW weekly show.
Oh. What time's it on? Same
It's
time
going
at
to be
9?
on. It's going to be on 8 o'clock on Saturday nights. It's going to be on the same time we're doing this show. If we keep the show on
Well, then what?
this thing
Just
on
do a
Sunday,
watch party.
can't do a watch party every week.
Why not? That's what I was going to say.
Well, one, I don't have regular television to do a watch party. I got to catch everything in replays. So doing a watch party every week for Collision is, I don't think it's going to be viable. You know, it's not like a
What's the other option?
moving the show to another night.
What night do you want to do it?
I don't know. The only night I could think of that wouldn't be something would be Thursday. But then we'd have a week between SmackDowns. That's
Good. Just have to start taking notes.
yeah, start doing homework. I know Kingpin watches the shows when they're on during the week, I believe. So, yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to watch later on at some point the show. I mean, if he could do that, and then Saturday wouldn't matter because I'll just watch the replay anyway, like Sunday or something. Like today, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown until today. I watched both of them back to back before setting up to do this show today. So I mean, if you guys can do that and just watch after the fact and not actually watch live, and we could keep it Saturday, but I thought I'd just run it by you guys to see what both of you thought since you're here and we can talk about it. I would ask the audience, but I don't know if there's anybody out there right now. Usually this show our viewers are going to be in the after the fact, so I can't get any live response or put a poll up because there's no point. What do you guys think? Keep it Saturday nights and then watch replay at some point during the week.
Yeah, I imagine.
The same. And then if anything interesting happens on the Saturday show, we can just talk about it later.
All right. Make sure one. And then next thing, I guess AEW is going to be switching all their pay-per-views going forward to Sunday nights. if they're going to be doing a live show on Saturdays. Or is it live? Is Collision going to be live, or is that going to be recorded and then shown?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't been paying attention to that. Tony Khan's creepy. Talking, I just ignore him.
Yeah, it's like Tony. We talked about it last week. Tony Khan makes an announcement to make an announcement to make an announcement about the next announcement.
Yeah.
It's literally what he's doing with Collision, because the announcement that he put out this week was that there's an announcement next week, which is the same thing he did last week.
Yep. Jerk off.
It's like, Tony, at some point, your announcements to make announcements are going to lose any weight whatsoever, and nobody's going to give a shit about what you're saying, man. You got to make an announcement. Just make the goddamn announcement. Don't make an announcement that you're making an announcement in 2 weeks after you make this announcement.
He should just hire a press secretary.
I think he is the press secretary at this point.
We talked about that too last week, Jason. I even went, kind of goofing around. I was like, he should just have a wrestler. One time, if he's got to say something, have MJF come out and be like, give me the mic, you can't talk. And then the next announcement, have Wardlow, give me that mic, you don't know how to say anything.
Well, half the time when the show's live, they're acting like Tony Khan's making an announcement, they just have it where he calls down to Tony Schiavone and has Tony Schiavone do it. Just make Tony Schiavone the fucking press secretary and have him make the announcements.
Yep, that would work. And everybody would accept that, too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to refer you to Mr. Khan's office on that one.
If you remember back to the old Saturday Night Wrestling on TBS, that's what happened. If David Crockett had an announcement to make, Tony Schiavone would get a call. Either him or his brother, or Jim Crockett's brother David, would get a call saying that there was an announcement, and they would make the announcement there from the announce desk. They didn't have. It was only if there was something really important that Jim Crockett showed up on the show. And it wasn't Jim Crockett coming out to say he had an announcement the next week.
If Tony Khan came out next week and was like, here's a huge announcement, we're going to bring the Crockett Cup back.
They can't. NWA has it.
Yeah, I know. But it'd be fun anyway.
Yeah.
I think about Tony Khan getting sued.
He almost has already.
I don't see how WWE doesn't try to sue him more often, because they constantly talk trash about WWE, like, on the show.
Yeah. Well, they used to do that back in the day too. If you remember, they had the whole angle where freaking DX showed up with a Jeep with a goddamn recoilless rifle outside of taping a Nitro trying to get in.
Yeah.
I mean, back during the Attitude Era, there was par for the course between WCW and WWE. Christ, Tony Schiavone on a live broadcast of Monday Nitro, when Raw had been pre-taped because of whatever reason, I forget what the reason was, but there was a reason, stated on Nitro that Mick Foley was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship that night on Raw. So,
right.
Cost Nitro how much viewership, because everybody switched over to Raw to watch that match. Yeah, you're roboting.
Yeah, it's going to be bad for a minute.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest blunders WCW made during the Monday Night War. You can see where their ratings just tanked after that announcement. If you look at the graphs for it, that was just dumb with a capital D. And Eric Bischoff has admitted, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have had Tony Schiavone do that. I'm surprised WWE hasn't sued AEW over the Blood and Guts match because it's essentially the War Games match with a different name, and WWE owns the copyright to that.
It's the Big Mick, Rich. It's not the Big Mac. And there's no
Uh-huh.
Sesame Street one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, instead of the golden arches, what did he say? We got the golden,
The Golden Arch.
yeah, the arc, the golden arc. That's what it was. See, we don't have the golden arches. We have the golden arc because they were more rounded. In real life, they would have never got away with that. Never. But in an Eddie Murphy comedy, it made perfect sense. Anyway, I think on that note, we can end it this week. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Jason?
Good to hang out with you guys. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
What about you, Kingpin?
I'm willing to let everybody in on the list, but you have to realize that I'm first, and my list is very long. But please compile your own list of people who need to be kicked in their balls for doing dumb things.
Eric Bischoff
Oh
outing
God,
the
I'm
fact
running
that
out of
Mankind
ink.
was going to win the world title. Yeah, I run out of ink really goddamn fast. Anyway, we're going to leave you tonight one more time with the tribute picture for superstar Billy Graham in a moment of silence, and we will catch you all next week. Have a good day, folks, or good night, and have a good week. As soon as I find this picture again, wrong one. There we go.